So I want to leave the most controversial issue, believe it or not, to last. There has been and I say this controversial because I don't think I've seen more letters to the editor other than an election season than on this particular subject. And I've received a number of emails for people to ask questions, try to get through all of them. But this is the question of renaming Auburn High School after Harriet Tubman. First of all, how did this come about?
Actually, a student brought it to our Board of Education. A student, and she's a student rep, Jane Auburn, asked the question.
Student leadership, Cuga,
yeah,
bright young lady. And
yeah, she's very bright, very intelligent, well-spoken. She brought the concern up to the board, and the board decided to move forward and start exploring.
So what's the process?
So the process is once that is brought to the board's attention, they have to follow their policy. So they've already activated the policy. They did a resolution to start the process up. Next part of the policy is they're going to have to do a notice and be able to take anybody that wants to do any type of nomination. So they have to set a time frame, and anyone.
So it could be open for any name.
They have to set the guidelines. The board has to set the guidelines whether they want it just to be with the high school or if it's any building in our school district. We have to advertise that. We have to pick a date. And then anybody that would want to do any type of nomination.
So is this a 6-month process or is this a multi-year process?
This is up to the board to set the timeline.
And they haven't gotten to that point yet?
They have not gotten to the point.
So, so a couple of things. So this is almost a cyclical issue. About 15 years ago, there was this whole conversation, and I will tell you that I thought several people handled it very badly in the district when they went, and frankly, they stereotyped, putting Harriet Tubman just at Genesee and did not open up other names. Obviously, Seward was a different issue because it was named.
It was already
or you
named,
may have
right.
some contractual. It's somebody. I think Casey is. You have Casey because the family donated the property with a condition. But there are others. There's a Wasco. There's Herman. There's whatever. The middle schools. This came up 15 years ago. This is coming back up again. Where do you see the process where, when you say the board sets the policy, could the board set the policy that only they make that decision, or it could go to a public referendum?
Right now, it's the policy is the board will make the determination based off of a committee that they pick and form. They will go based off of their recommendation.
And are you surprised in the initial 3 weeks how many letters to the editor, how many online comments have been generated by this one student making a suggestion?
No, it is controversial, and again, I think everybody has their own opinion. My thing is we need to do what the community wants. And if our children in our community...
Well, and some people would say in the community, playing the devil's advocate here, would be that you should go to a public referendum.
And absolutely the board could choose to do that.
Or you could go to the old, which most likely was what should have been done 15 years ago, put 3 names in a hat, and whoever draws out of the 3 elementary schools, that was it.
Yeah, well...
I
wasn't part of the process.
No, I'm sorry.
No. And again, I wasn't even in Auburn working as an assistant
but
principal.
There are some leftover issues from 15 years ago.
From what I've heard, I understand that. Again, I think the board, they talk about doing a process where they're going to they want to hear from all the kids, not just from the high school. They want to hear K through 12.
So this could be a very elongated process.
It very well could be, but...
When do you think the board will set a timeline for a timeline?
They may even have the discussion tonight at the board meeting. I'm not really sure if that's going to get brought up, but it may.
So the last viewer question I would have, again, consolidating many that came in, is this a distraction? I'm not saying it's not important, but there are other issues facing the board right now. Returning because of COVID, trying to get students in 5 days a week. You have a budget where you just got a cut of $500,000 that you had just said from the governor. You have a whole myriad of issues. Is the issue of this naming going to suck the air out of other discussions that you have to have?
I guess it goes down to prioritizing, right? My number one thing is I need to get the kids back into school, and that's what I'm focused on. The board chooses to go through this right now, again, they have the right to do that. There is a lot going on, though, and it does add more to their plate.
I'm not asking you your opinion of should it be done or not, unless you want to give that opinion, but do you think this is something that really could be put off because you've got to deal with these other issues? And I'm literally talking about getting students in 5 days a week and budget.
Yeah, and I think the board will make that determination. I think you'll hear a conversation, and like I said, you know, I want whatever the community wants. It's their high school. I serve the children, I serve the parents. You know, whatever this community wants, I'm all for. And, you know, I think the board will do it the right way, where they will take everybody's suggestions, the nominations, and you know, whether they do a survey.
So this could be a much
vote.
more complex process.
I think it will be, and I think you don't think how big it is until, because the policy is so short, but there's a lot to it.